So round number 2, StarHorn coming up with a big win in game number 1 off the back of a couple of hyper carries in Fizz and Kog'Maw. Froskurinn, what do you think OMG has to do to get back into this one? I never thought I'd be saying that tonight.
OMG is known for kind of their slumps, but so are a lot of Chinese teams. It's like there's these highs and then there's these really deadly lows. I don't know what happened that game. OMG, like we talked about previously, they've already clinched that playoff spot, so they could possibly be playing around with compositions, things like that, although they looked very disappointed on the back of that loss. So to me, that translates as either they just looked past StarHorn Club or they had an awful pick ban phase, which, to be frank, they did.
Well, they tried to ban out Insec, and he just said, all right, well, you're going to take away Rengar and Lee Sin. I'm just going to go for Jarvan, and it turned out to work wonders for them as Fizz was picked up in the mid lane. Korn was able to work wonders on that champion. And OMG just looked like a team that never really made any moves towards victory. They gave up all the dragons. They gave up a lot of towers. They couldn't take team fights, and they have to have a different strategy going into game number 2. Pick ban phase, certainly going to be part of that, I think. Let's see what they do here. Anything else you think in particular that they have to change about that?
Well, they had a short stint of control when Allen went hard on the paint with his Elise, you know, made those invades early on Insec, but that completely turned around from how hard bottom lost in Son and Cloud's hands compared to Uzi. So I would expect that they're going to put Son onto a hyper carry, because obviously he's already proven that he can't take the early aggressive champion and put it to Uzi. So I expect to see either Tristana, a Jinx, or or Kog'Maw land in his hands. I don't think he'll go back to that Lucian, Corki, or Ezreal.
Fizz ban comes out of the gates right away. Same bans for StarHorn. They don't really change much from game to game.
They had the counter pick too. Like, that's what baffles me. Red side has such a higher win rate in China because the counter pick is so important to them. They saw the Fizz early, and Cool decided to pick the Twisted Fate, the weaker lane, into it. But that Gragas right out the gate.
I think Orianna would have helped a lot better. Yeah, Gragas immediately picked up by going to be on that champion today, and it certainly helped out Cola quite a lot. So what's the answer here? Do we see top lane Italy?
It's not really a thing in China. Nidalee, even when she was considered OP, which, you know, she's considered very strong right now, doesn't really exist here. They don't run a lot of poke like, they have poke elements to it, but it's much more about that dive, hard engage, re-engage thing. Nidalee never caught on in the mid lane, never caught on in top lane.
You know what has caught on, though?
Zillion.
It's actually started by Zatai about a day or two before Faker ended up playing it in OGN. And
what team is that guy on? Can you remind me?
Yes. Your very favorite team, Invictus Gaming. We don't have any biases here, of course.
I would never be biased.
I think this is definitely going to be a mid lane pickup. It could be a support choice, but it doesn't strike me as Zero's style.
No, definitely not. I am 100% that it's going to go to Korn in that mid lane. Zero is much more... It's funny, for a long time there was almost kind of two components and two facets of StarHorn Royal Club's play. It was like Zero, Uzi, or excuse me, Zero and Insect, and then Uzi and kind of the rest of the team. You would constantly see like Uzi and friends. You would constantly see like Zero, like, or Insect kicking people into like Nami bubbles, things like that, and they would get like these solo kills off on their own. It's gotten a little bit more cohesive, and hey, look, didn't I call it Tristana?
Yep, Tristana comes up out the gates, of course. We're also going to see Cola. This solidifies the mid pickup. Zillion, I think. On the off chance it would have been top, I don't think that's likely, but Cola is going to rock Jax. This is a comfort pick champion for him, too. Definitely something that he thrives on in particular. And Insec, he's been liking Rengar a lot.
This is 4.11, so Jax has been nerfed, though. And it's funny because we kind of saw the death of Jax in the international scene, particularly NA.
Not China.
As soon as those Jax nerfs... Yeah, exactly. The fact that Jax is still being picked up, you know, despite having those base numbers hit. I haven't really seen the Jax-Gragas matchup just because it kind of Gragas rose to power, you know, Tree rose to power, and that's really been it in that top lane.
When Tree is banned, what do you do? Go back to Jax. Hey, I saw him in that cinematic. He looked like his early game was pretty terrible. Couldn't hold up to Darius and Nautilus.
Yeah, Nautilus pretty much put him in the grave there. Korn going to finish this up, though, with that Orianna pickup.
So I was completely wrong, by the way. It's going to be a Zillion support for Uzi.
That's very curious.
Yeah, I think that was a flex pick.
Well, SK brought out the Zillion against... Whose bot lane was it? I'm actually trying to remember that game. I remember that it was Piclet and Pumandu. Was it OMG?
Oh, are you talking about at All-Stars? They
Yes.
did take Zillion mid in the final of All-Stars, yeah.
No, it wasn't Zillion mid, it was Zillion
Was
support.
it support? Okay.
Yeah,
I'm
it was
completely
support
out of
because,
my mind, apparently.
Piglet and Pumondu were effectively not surviving the laning phase, and so they picked up the Zillion support, and they made like the public announcement, like, we have this OP support pick to counter the Chinese bot lane, and
I feel like
it was
kind
the
of a
idea.
troll.
Well, it worked perfectly because it effectively, they were losing the bot lane so hard that it just gave them more lives and it took them even. And then they had the superior Korean strategy and map pressure game to play out that they just didn't have a fed lane to deal with, and they came back really hard. It was OMG because that was the day of Xiang. I remember the game, so it was San and...
It's a different mid laner.
technically, they have some
now.
international experience with the Zillion support.
Yeah, see if they can make it. StarHorn, not exactly the same team as SKT. We'll see how this ends up going. I'm curious to see it in particular. The bot lane going to be the featured matchup, of course. Uzi going to get to rock the Kog'Maw again. I didn't even mention it, though, but Cool is going to be on Ziggs this time. I think that's much more of a suitable pick this game.
I think the idea is they recognized that their composition had only... I talk about win conditions a lot. Their composition had one-dimensional win condition. With this composition, completely different. You know, you have a nice mixture of early game, mid game, and late game power spikes. You have anti-siege, you have siege, you have tower dive, you have peel. So there's a lot more flexibility and versatility in everything that offers them. I think this is a lot stronger showing from OMG. That said, across the line, StarHorn looking really creative as well. And they are playing, you know, with that momentum boost. They just took the game off the first place team. They looked really good doing it. So they could look for a 2-1 punch here.
Let's see if they do go for any early aggression right now. You've got to be careful on OMG's lineup as well, because once you get into the team fight situations, there's that weird dissonance between Gragas and the ultimate Cataclysm from Jarvan. So we'll see how this goes. No lane swaps, nothing scary, nothing ridiculous coming out, as Uzi and Zero are going to be very content with the 2v2 once again, and I think Cole is going to want to be 1v1ing against Go Going.
See if San can redeem himself against Uzi's lane. I favor the Zillion mid simply because Zillion is a very mana-hungry champion. He really needs that blue buff to get going. On the support role, he causes a lot of zone pressure, and going against Zillion in the early levels is pretty much one of the worst experiences that you can ever have in a bot lane. But there's a short window of opportunity for him because he just runs out of mana so quickly.
Hello, what's this? We do see a lane swap coming in. And
Uzi
making the move with Zero. Slow march up to the top as Insect starts his blue buff. And OMG, none the wiser in this situation. They're just looking for the guard, playing a very, very conservative game in the beginning. And this is why StarHorn is able to get away with this kind of thing.
Typically, when you do a lane swap, this does give Dragon control early over to OMG. We'll see if they're able to capitalize on that. What happens in the top lane, because Dragon control is in the bot lane, it's a slow push versus a fast push. The fast push should come out in the top lane, or they need to prep the tower, because if they see OMG go for the move to take the Dragon, they need to be ready to trade the tower in return.
And we're back to the jungle buddy system. Cole and Insect continuing to duke it out with the white camp to begin with, and realizing now that the same thing is happening for Drug and Go Going. 2v0 commences on both sides, so it's a race to the towers and denying the farm game, as we saw the 4v0 mutate into this a couple of months back. See who plays it better.
It definitely favors Gragas in the early part. Gragas is going to do better in a 2v1 lane when he finally gets down there. Jungle's, you know, decently well. He has sustain. He's very hard to dive if they decide to kind of go back to that 4v0 meta and look for that that crushing 4-man tower dive early game, just because he's innately tanky, he has CC, he's got decent wave clear. However, when the lanes get busted open and those towers are taken down early, it's going to favor Cola, simply because he's going to have that free farm lane on a Jax, and that's never what you want.
I think the 4v0 is pretty unlikely, especially considering this is the patch that the towers are maxing out a little bit quicker, isn't it?
There were changes to experience, I believe. Actually, no, I think that's 4.12.
And they're just going to play the farm denial game. San's the only one going forward. They're going to try to give him a lot of solo experience as they're bringing Cloud around the side to help out. And as you so like to point out, the jungle is not divided anymore by the river, but rather by the horizontal barrier in the middle of the map. Ooh, early Dragon being pinged out right now by OMG. They could go for this quite easily. They're bringing the whole group. looking to
And
set
second
up a
Cola,
pick.
no, though. Look at the mind games right here.
Oh,
the fact
boy.
that they know that they're in the area.
Cola just face checks directly into a hook. This is going to be first blood. If he doesn't go down in a minute, he will soon. That is going over to Cool as he gets himself a cool first blood kill. 4 minutes in on the dot, and this means Dragon time. Let's go, guys. Everybody jumping forward into action. OMG, bait the trap, and StarHorn falls right into it.
And you were just talking about how when the 2v1 switch is done, how Kobe liked to talk about it, how it's no longer divided up the center, it's divided across the board. Excuse me, it is divided up the center. I'm getting all mixed up now.
There's
the issue was that there's too many directions. I don't know where I'm going. No, StarHorn Royal Club decided to go for the Wolf Camp, and that's technically not part of their jungle anymore. And they got cut out by brilliant words from OMG to play those mind games to get that pick to transition that dragon.
Insect trying to make moves onto Cool, but he two-steps it out, avoids one bullet, gets hit up by another, but it's under tower already. And with the Zig's abilities, he can really stall this game out long as he wants. And this is a much nicer opening from OMG, much cleaner and more controlled, what we're used to seeing from them. And they really seem to have woken up.
Yeah, it's a little concerning. There are games, the World Elite versus OMG games, where you just look at OMG, you're like, yes, this is the team that can rise up and can defeat the Koreans, that can possibly take games off of the Samsung teams. You know, this could be China's hope. And then there's games like we saw last game. It's like, what are you guys doing? I don't know if you're practicing compositions, but this is not what we expected. This
Yeah, they're already
this
first place.
control,
It's okay.
they've already got their playoff spot. This controlled pace, this creativity in the wording, the mind games, this is very much more the OMG that we're used to seeing and used to hyping up to be in that first place. But speaking of ward placements, Drug actually standing on a ward.
Yep. Speaking of mind games, he's mind gaming himself out. Uzi trying to take the bait or bait him out rather, and that's not going to be nearly enough to keep him alive. Heal popped on this one, and they don't have the follow-up damage. Uzi, they're managing to 2v3 this one without the help of Insect. And OMG, they back away.
Almost turned sour, but Uzi showing off his sweet mechanics right there, able to dodge the chain CC. Didn't even have to burn his flash, so good job from him. That was pretty much all on him. I was like, Uzi, you see him, so this is pretty much all up to you not to blow this one.
What happens in the top lane stays in the top lane, except for Cloud. He's roaming.
It's now become Vegas.
Yes.
It's a long strip
it is
like
a gamble.
Vegas. Oh, this is true. How many other analogies can we make to Vegas?
Well, if you really want to like start tossing the jokes around, we'll find a way. I don't know. There's
We
no
already
Twisted
had
Fate
the Fizz top
this game.
last game, so we already had some stripper poles up there.
Oh man,
I had to
that's
go
like
there.
always on your
It was
mind,
a bit of
isn't
a
it?
bridge. Yeah, it's
a bridge. No, it
it's
was
a fun
a
ability.
pole, Frosk. There is a difference. Anyways,
This
cool.
mid lane, 52 to 45.
Keeping on the up and up, but Korn is on a very safe champion, and as you could see from the last game, he played extremely well on an assassin. See if he can't do the same thing. Orianna can really turn fights around, and they have the submarine mode. This is Insect's calling card. He likes to do this kind of thing all the time.
He's going for a flare, though, if he finishes out that Madreds as opposed to the Lizard Elder. I'm really curious the route that he's going to take. Typically, the tank Rengar came from the Orianna. It's almost necessary because he needs to survive long enough to get into the middle of the team fight and allow that shockwave to go off as opposed to the damage Rengar.
Yeah.
However, you have a lot of superficial tankiness already built into that team comp with Zero bringing the Chrono Shift and with Cola bringing his
Jacksness.
Yeah, the spinning pole.
There's a lot of poles
I'm trying to remember
going on. What is Cloud
it's
doing?
not Leap Strike, it's Counter...
Counter-Strike?
Is that
Global
the
offensive?
dodge?
It's not the
we
right
got
game.
the bomb.
Yep. Yeah, he went straight into
played
that one.
Game.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's a fun game, isn't it? Not the one we're talking about though. Going, forcing Cola away, and we finally get to see the Jax on Karaga's action. See how it goes. One level disadvantage for Cola, although can hardly blame him for that. He hasn't really been able to farm much this game by comparison. And that's going to be Going's cue to push forward. Cool now, having to burn his flash to get away from Insect suddenly appearing out of nowhere, eyeballing those blue buffs. He wants it. San to the rescue. Ball's coming in. Could get the shockwave, doesn't need it. And that's going to be Insect falling down. Teleport coming in to try and even the odds. Korn on the chase. He has no intention of letting Tristana get away. San running for his life right now. Cloud trying to body block everything he can. Drug coming to the rescue, and that will be the signal to back away. 1-for-1 trade. StarHorn and OMG once again even it out, but now the red buff under fire.
Good use of taking the red buff. Kola committed with his teleport right there, so, you know, we have to get something. We can't just trade this 1-for-1. The dragon's out of the question because our jungler's dead.
And there's
but
no
we
dragon.
can definitely... Oh, wow, he smited it away.
Yep, that was quite the nice steal back. And StarHorn does not come up with anything they really wanted there. So the 1-for-1 trade definitely was Insect trying to make a huge play. I suppose when it's just Insect that dies and you trade for the mid laner, hashtag worth?
Well, the issue is that people would be like, well, why did Cool run that way? He could have, you know, blah, 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 blah. Like, he had to run that way. There was no way that he was going to get away from Insect, even though he missed his bola, simply because he was going to run by that bush anyway, and Insect would have just run into it and gotten the next leap strike off. I like the idea and the mental thought of, you know, I'm not going to get away from this. I can try to outplay, or I can make sure that a kill is fed into San, which... Tristana, 1-0-0 right now. 63 CS, so staying fairly even despite the explosive shot in the Uzi lane. A much better performance from San this time around.
Yeah, and he's also on a carry that will scale a lot harder into the later game. Tristana has been seeing such an emergence of play. So is Kog'Maw, but, you know, Uzi has been rocking that for a while. That's been much more common anyways. And I think if any carry is able to really compete with the late game staying power, as well as self-peel, to keep him alive a lot longer, it's probably going to be Tristana. San knows this champion. Can rock it. Now they're trying to make the 2v3 happen. Drug coming around the side. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Cool goes down to Corrin in the 1v1, but it's going to be Zilean getting an ult onto himself, and they should be able to follow that up regardless. Uzi stays safe. However, it's a 1-for-1 trade all over the map. Cool is having a hard time against Corrin.
Well, it was also in second there, which is why Drug made that call to go in on that bottom. He knew that Insect was in the mid lane, so he knew he could gank uncontested, and it was going to be a 3v2 no matter what. That said, Insect Corrin, they take down Cool, trying to make the most of it again. StarHorn Umbrella Club so objectively focused. When they take a kill, they don't take it for no reason. They're not just in the jungle hunting for things. They want it to transition it into an objective, so get that mid tower, that's huge.
Yep, bot tower's going to fall down too. Drug doesn't really need to help out with this one. They're trying to bait out the fight again. So Dragon will be pretty much up for grabs. It's up on the table now. It's all going to come down to who decides to move forward first and take the big fight. However, Drug making the look forward, but he gets a bomb for all of his trouble, so he doesn't really...
There's a lack of communication.
Yeah, they didn't want to go in on that one. Now Gogon chasing Kola out. Ooh, leap strike. Avoid that big body slam in as he gets the barrel out there. And we're going to see the replay of what happens here with Cool. So he doesn't see Insect at all. Ball comes in, connects with the bola, shockwave, and a... not even that much damage from the shockwave, but an auto attack finishes him off. Yeah, there really was no going anywhere, and that's the same thing that Insect tried to do earlier when he forced the flash.
Technically, Insect kind of mechanically misplayed that combo. You're supposed to throw the bola when you're in mid-air to make sure that it lands, because he got the advantage. It's possible because he knew that Cool's flash was down because he was the one who burned it the first time. But the reason why you don't do that is because when you land, you're going to come out of stealth and he'll be able to see it and typically like flash out of the way of it.
Corrin, whoa, Drug wants to make some serious action here. Ball's going to connect to Insect. He's going down, and that's going to be San getting himself another kill. Insect falling down to that one. Cool and Drug blinking health bars, but they stay afloat, except for Drug. Time bomb detonates, and that's going to be a 1-for-1 trade once again. But OMG, they're really proving the major aggressors of this game. The biggest problem they've got right now is this eventual late game issue of Jax, but they've got a long time before they have to worry about that, and they have a lot of tools at their disposal. Seemed pretty haphazard by both teams, that fight, though.
That was a really beautiful lantern from Cloud to dodge out the shockwave. Good placement right there. Cloud, again, the fact that he's gotten Thresh back-to-back. You know, OMG did lose the first game, but Cloud's performance on Thresh is always solid.
Yeah, and he is showing why they probably don't want to give him this champion in general. He's been making a lot of big plays like that to keep his teammates alive, and should be able to set up some picks come these big fights, but so far everything goes back to sort of a tenuous laning phase. Cool left to take his own blue buff right now.
I think it's advantageous for OMG to speed up laning phase and to group up into 5v5s. Their team coordination, I mean, obviously you're against I'm not going to call StarHorn a brand new roster, but, you know, this split, they are technically, exactly. They don't have as much synergy. There are communication issues, you know. The Korean players, they don't speak Mandarin. They do have a coach in-house, so at this point, you know, they've been learning Mandarin, but they're not fluent. They're communicating in English.
And we
think
had seen
looping
some
up
communication issues early on with Insect, and
Exactly.
yeah, that's a dragon over to OMG. Speaking of communication, it's on point there as the buff gets secured, or rather the global gold gets secured. Going, trying to make a move in the top lane onto Cola, but he's just showing a little bit of force to try and force him away. Cool, gets cut up. Shockwave going to land. Insect gets hooked up. They might trade 1-for-1 again. Mega Inferno Bomb coming out. Insect has the Zillion ult on him, and they don't take him down because they knew he was just going to come right back up. So they don't trade 1-for-1. Cool. Really going down a lot this game, but they're not too worried about it, I think. Once again, kill score evens out, but the gold is in the pockets of OMG.
Well, Insect has made the read, you know, who's the carry of OMG? It's going to be Cool. Big player, big name. Horn now, though, making a good rotation up on Going.
Yeah, Cola may not last much longer, but Going actually gets big damage on him, and the explosive cast comes out to try and keep him alive. Insect, though, he's trapped all over the place. The tri-brush is not a safe place to be, and it's Insect going on to Going, and he misplays it. Oh my goodness, he could get away here. Oh, everyone's going for him. This is a heavy committal right now for StarHorn. Where is the rest of OMG? Not in the picture. Cloud tries to get the Lantern save out, but it's too late. Time Bomb explodes, getting the kill over to 0. 2-1 on the Zillion today.
Zero says, step aside, Insect. I'll show you who the real Korean is.
Support
Flashes
carry.
forward.
Hashtag.
Oh,
that
wow.
was... Yeah, in all honesty, Going should have gone down way up in the tri-brush, and he managed to nearly escape. So, a bit of a sloppy chase. It's just lucky for StarHorn that OMG was not anywhere near an objective. They could have easily pushed a tower in all that time.
Oh, definitely. Fortunately, not able to capitalize on Going's pressure, which I feel is kind of the theme of what's happening in this set so far, well, in this series.
Yep. Now San going to be able to put some pressure onto this top tower himself, relieving Going of that particular duty, but he's got to be careful. Cola could get the jump on him now. Drug and Cloud moving around the side to maybe commit to this one. This should be an easy tower for them, and realizing this, Cola's just going to back away from it, give the tower away. They're going to trade, something they've been meaning to do for quite a while on the bot side. Going not going to be able to save that bot tower either.
But will it mean anything? We do see that Uzi and Zero are hammering away on that bot tower. I wish the camera guy would pan down there so I could get a read on how
but this
healthy
tower
it
at the
is.
top is getting taken down very quickly. So they didn't answer it. StarHorn has not really been able to answer the pressure, and 2 towers go down for free right there, but OMG in danger of being collapsed on. There is Insect. If he gets the jump on, he could. The bull is going to come out. Now he's revealed. They know exactly what's going on. Cola's getting his chase on as well. Flaying backwards. Cloud getting locked up by the bull. There goes Cola in the picture, but he's in a box. He's got nowhere to go. StarHorn trying to chase on. Drug is going to do the majestic sacrifice, or is he? No, thank you. Doesn't really need it. Stays alive, although his health bar is burning away with the Ignite. Everyone getting out alive. Big success. OMG coming up with 2 towers.
Beautiful disengage from Drug right there to utilize his Cataclysm in that choke point. That's pretty much the savior right there. Cloud also came up huge with that flay on Cole initially to stop any sort of hard engagement, so...
Oh yeah, that was big.
OMG tactically played that very well.
They even managed to save out the bot. Going is doing a fantastic job of zoning Uzi. Makes you wonder why the early game lane swap was completely abandoned for OMG. They really, really have this locked up so far. So they've only lost 1 tower, and they've managed to crack quite a lot more on the top side. Should be their focal point. Give them perhaps a little bit more control come Baron time, but it's only 17.5 minutes. It's getting close to that for China, but not just yet. This dragon is
well,
going
it works
to be
out for
pinged
them
right now.
because
It's
they've
not
gotten the
okay, though.
back-to-back dragons, like you said. So there's no reason for them to be on the bot side of the map. So again, we talk about how StarHorn is so focused on making sure that they take objectives that they're fighting for a reason. This game, completely night and day, OMG says, okay, we're on the bottom side of the map because we want to control the dragon. As soon as it's not contested, there's no reason for us to be here. We need to transfer all of our power, all of our resources to that top lane and take what we can there.
Yeah, and they really masterfully pulled that one off. They've been able to control objectives a lot better this game just because they have a focus on it, and it seems to be something that StarHorn is really not aware of. They're just trying to go for those picks and those kills. It's working out for them, but they haven't been able to keep up in the gold game just because of the dragon control and the tower control that OMG's exerted. Now they're looking for the steal on the blue side. Insect's going around. He's going to get his jump on, gets the smite steal, or does he? Yes, he does, and that's going to be Drug taken low here. Insect's got the ball. Oh, my goodness. He's going to fall down, but or is he? That is the Zillion keeping him alive. Go and trying to make something happen. Insect's got the ball still, and they're going to back away for that one. That was really close right there, and in all of that craziness, Cola went down as well.
Went down to Cool, and I think he was taken down with a Mega Inferno Bomb because Cool was walking through the river, doesn't have the cooldown available. Again, Drug coming up huge with these Cataclysms. It was a really nice job from Uzi to step forward, though, with his Living Artillery. If he had not stepped forward and applied the pressure with his AoE, not his AoE, his long-range ultimate, Insect would have died right there. He left him in the cage. You saw that going step forward, got the cask off. He would have continued to chase if Uzi didn't protect his flank.
Yeah, we get to see that one in an instant replay here. Up in the top, Cola runs right into a bush with Cool in it. Yeah, he doesn't need the Mega Inferno Bomb. That's just a spell combo auto attack, and that was just an unlucky face check.
He was shopping for shoes. He didn't even realize this
Whoa,
was
there's
there.
a bomb in my face. Okay, where did that come from all of a sudden? Cloud now looking for the chase. He gets Corn on a hook. San's going forward. Box is popped and forcing the flash away from Corn. Doesn't really take a lot of damage from that one, but there is a 5-man roam squad from OMG looking to secure themselves another dragon in just a moment, putting the pressure on. They are going for it. Ball's going to connect. Shockwave only landing on San. They don't have any follow-up damage. Corn, he's going down. Mega Inferno Bomb coming up big, but only on one. Insect has to flash away from that as well. And they are all of a sudden just getting massive time bomb going off on a few members of OMG, but it's not enough to take them down. They are really turning the gas up here, Frost. This is going from 30 miles per hour cruise to, like, flying down the highway. Tower number 2 looking to fall.
There's really no reason for Corn to die there. Second tier tower, like you said, 2 towers going down, and in exchange for that, they are going to rotate back down to the Dragon. Zero was in range for the Chrono Shift. In the area, he still has that ultimate available to him, and Corn's dead, so a bit of a misstep there from StarHorn.
Yeah, they just look a little bit perplexed as to what this team is doing to them, and where were they last game. OMG looks completely different. It makes you wonder, maybe they just were the first game. This is a team that is capable of pulling off big combos like that, and all of a sudden they have a massive lead. StarHorn's not out of it yet. It's still anyone's game, of course, but it's hard to fight against that 5-man.
It's very hard to fight against their composition in general. Talk about kind of the crutch of Ziggs in China in particular. I mean, he's a crutch internationally, but particularly in China, just because they're not the best at map awareness and making map rotations. The fact that he has that global presence with his ultimate, semi-global presence with his ultimate to clear waves. He has fantastic anti-siege. His damage is insane late game, pretty much on comp with Orianna. Yeah, he doesn't have the, the big powerful shockwave, but he makes up for that in how much map control that he gives.
San's performance has really gone way up with Tristana this game too. 4-0 now. I mean, that's a massive differential considering they've held Uzi to a 0-0-0.
It never really made sense to me that they would pick up, especially with kind of the swing and the changes of AD carries, to stay on kind of those early game ADCs when you have such powerful marksmen in your region.
Yeah, why would you, right? And Tristana being just such a versatile tool, a very safe tool as well. And
good at sieging, like you said, super self-sufficient, safe, so everything that Lucian is scales incredibly well.
Oh, yeah. And can we say safe again? There's no way they
safe?
Can dive on in. Yeah, there.
So safe. It's not only the rocket jump, it's the buster shot as well. It's the combination of the two, as well as the range. It's 2 forms of self-peel and a passive.
Yeah, and there's just a ridiculous amount of damage here. So, StarHorn looking to come up with the submarine bomb. Drug has to realize that was going on. He avoids the narrow death that they planned for him here, but Insect going a little bit ham in the forward right position. This is going to be the Zillion Chrono Shift being popped. Cola coming to the party, but he takes a face full of damage around the side. Mega Inferno Bomb going to connect. Insect gets the satchel charge, tries to jump on Cool, not enough damage. He goes down, and that is a 1 for none right now. No smite available. They're not looking for Baron, though. I don't think OMG needs this. They're just going to push again.
That stack of abilities. I talk about all the time how China is so good at team fighting. People will constantly say, I watch the Chinese team fights and I don't see what you're talking about. Like, literally, that was it. The fact that the Chrono Shift goes down, Insect is about to respawn, the barrel is put, so as Insect is going to come back up, the barrel initially is going to proc. As soon as it does going throws the cask, and he knows he's not going to hit the cask to push Insect back into them. He's going to push him forward. As it's going down, you see the indicator of the Mega Inferno Bomb. So this mentality of as soon as he spawns, he's going to get hit with my Q, he's going to get hit with my R, he's going to be pushed into Zigzar. He dodges the Zig's ultimate, but it doesn't matter because Cool understands their understanding of zone pressure. His steps into it to ensure that there is no way that Rengar is getting out of that alive. They effectively had this giant AoE of control all over that river, and that's what I'm talking about with Chinese and understanding AoE, understanding zone, why Ziggs and Orion are such threats for these mid laners to have. That was beautifully played.
Well, and to be honest, any other team that had been subjected to that submarine insect move might have gone down in that fight. Now OMG, just not the kind of team to fall to that. Look at this ward. They're lighting. Look at these wards are lighting up the Baron pit and all around it. I guess it's Christmas come early as OMG looks for the bait inside the pit. Baron's not too unhappy with this for the time being, as long as you don't abuse him in his home.
See if they can hook.
That was a big four-man Froskurinn. Nicely played. Don't face check into the Baron pit, and they're going to have to back away from this one, but firmly in control of this game right now. OMG can afford to do these kinds of things without any repercussions whatsoever. And StarHorn, onus on them to try and take fights. It's just being swatted down every time.
What I would love to see from StarHorn, and I'm forgetting the team that I watched in North America, I think it was TSM possibly. They were running a Rengar Zillion composition, although it was a Rengar or a Zillion mid as opposed to a support. I would love to see a stealth submarine with a bomb and have Rengar initiate just as the bomb explodes with the Orianna shockwave. Insect almost had it the last time. He jumped a little bit too early, and of course Orianna wasn't available, so they lost a big source of their damage. But
well,
I would love to see that stack up.
Guys, it's 25 minutes. We don't see the enemy team. That means it's time for Baron. OMG's looking for that around the side. Corn's got the ball in, and he nearly gets a steal off. That's Drug and Going getting locked up by the shockwave, but they don't go down, and the purple worm goes over to OMG. They are looking to make moves now. This was almost for free. 99 cents.
Effectively, yeah. They knew that they could do it because Insect wasn't on the map. They had everything worded up. Although Insect trying to make a pick here.
That's too bad. He's not going to have that available for just a bit. OMG's just going unpunished in their moves. They have the map control on their side, and now they can just split push it out. Cola trying to do the same thing, but I think the 4v4, if this goes down, favors OMG, and not only that, Going's got teleport available. Cola doesn't.
OMG also has really superior dive potential. The only thing that's really scary for them is the chrono shift if they dive onto the Zillion. But otherwise, the 4-1 shouldn't really scare them too badly. Corn also has a lot of anti-siege. I'm unsure if he has the blue buff available to him right now. Have to wait for the camera to pan over, but that could also throw a wrench in any of their plans. So looks like they are kind of spreading out, maybe looking for a 4-1 between mid-bottom, creating pressure points, taking the easier tower. I believe there's a tower there, although, again, I have no control of the minimap.
Yep, there is one available for the time being.
There we go,
Not for long, though. OMG has something to say about that. Son is actually tanking tower damage. Man, he's... Talk about a guy who just doesn't care anymore. He even gets the bomb on his head, and he's going to regen it all back up thanks to Baron. This is going to be a dragon easily taken by OMG. Slowly but surely marching their way forward. Complete control of this game, as is their style.
You said it exactly right. It's a very controlled pace. The fact that they're not taking any chances, they're going for the super safe objectives. Obviously, the last standing second-tier tower is going to be the easiest tower to take down as opposed to breaking that inhibitor line. It's important. Like, mid is going to be incredibly important because it gives you the most passive map control because your minions are going to be able to get farther down it. But obviously, taking the bot tower or the bot inhibitor, preferably when Baron is down, is incredibly important because it'll usually coincide when Baron respawns to have that minion wave pressuring down there, and you know that fateful choice of do we go bottom and save our base from the impending doom of creeps, or do we challenge you at the second Baron that you're possibly going to get for free. We'll see what OMG chooses here. Did go back, fill up their items, are now creating pressure points across the map. See Going in the top lane, gonna shove that past river, and then I expect he'll swing down with the rest of his team, or you know, he'll just go back and waste his Baron time, whatever suits him.
Now, they definitely have a time window to act on this, but even before the Baron, they were applying a lot of pressure all over the place. And OMG are perfectly happy just to shove waves through here. They might be able to get themselves a couple of towers. Only one more outer one remains. That's that bot one being pinged out right now, or rather it's Cloud being pinged out. Only Cola there to defend it. And you got to be fearful for StarHorn with the 5v5, especially with Uzi not even in the picture right now.
StarHorn's doing a really good job of giving OMG the Baron runaround.
It's like one of those episodes of Scooby-Doo where you're just sort of running through each door, or they're all running through the different doors and coming out different sides, and nobody catches anybody for 5 minutes.
Those are my favorite sequences, and they've always got like some groovy montage going.
Oh yeah, especially groovy. But OMG, they're looking pretty groovy themselves as they take that outer turret. The last one standing. They don't need to take a fight. They'll be able to get themselves an objective regardless. OMG now looking to just run fully around the map, do whatever they want. They've got a full 10k advantage over their opponents, and StarHorn really looking risk-adverse right now. This is a team that's been beaten down so far.
Complete night and day, the reversal. I will give you a fun fact about OMG. In their two sets, because obviously China plays a point system as opposed to a best of one, so it's a set of two. Their games are always 10 minutes shorter, or on average 10 minutes shorter in the second game than the first game. Of course, the first game ended at 30 minutes, so that's not going to happen this time around, but it's almost that snowball mentality of, okay, we figured out what went wrong the first game, and we know what to adjust going into the second game to really just steamroll through.
And what they need to do is catch Insect. Not enough damage being dealt to him to take him down. San's around the backside trying to dodge out of Uzi, and that's Cola coming in on that one, picking up the kill. First one of this particular battle. San going down, and this is everyone from OMG bailing out. That just turned nasty for them. As soon as the Baron goes down, they bail away, or they try to, because StarHorn really making life a little bit rough for them. Go and nearly gets the kill on Insect, not enough. Oh, the Zanyas of the Mega Inferno Bomb. That's going to be damage. That's going to be a kill. Cool, though, running for his life. Last member of the team standing. He's just trying to buy time right now. See if he can stay alive. Uh-oh, there's Cola. I don't think it's going to be much longer. He almost gets a kill, but he falls down in the end, and they only take down Insect. StarHorn finds a huge turnaround. Big ace.
I'm sure we'll see the replay of that, but MVP of that was definitely Korn. I don't know if you saw that shockwave. Effectively, OMG ran into it. I believe it was a 4-man shockwave, and then it just turned into this brutal chase.
Yeah.
Drug, again, utilizing the Cataclysm to try to create an AoE cage, flashes out of it this time instead of the flag and drag. If he had expended his flash over the wall, he probably would have survived. I don't know if he had the distance for him, so a mechanical misstep there, but definitely the killer was that shockwave. They ran right into it.
And we'll get to see it again in just a moment, but they were so focused on trying to save San when Cola jumped in that, yeah, it just kind of went completely upside down for them. San got really just poked out, and I think they didn't need to commit to that dive. It was really poor timing, too. The Baron buff had just unset on them. So here we go. It's off already. They get the hook in on Insect. Barrel lands. Wrong direction. There's the shockwave. San avoids it just narrowly, but the living artillery comes up big. Box to try and disengage. Cola comes around out of nowhere and just bonks San on the head. Last hit from dead. Drug can't get away in time, and he burns down with the Ignite. And it's just a domino effect. StarHorn coming up huge. Although it gets answered out nicely by Cool here, but you'd think Going would have been able to pick that one up. He uncharacteristically misplays it.
Cool misses his satchel here.
Yeah,
he was
and
expecting
this
guy to step to the side. If he had hit it, I think they would have been able to trade one more there.
Yeah, and to his credit, he nearly took down Cola and all of that. But yeah, tower answered. They couldn't get much more. However, the map is now much more contestable. And Drug looking to see if he can make an engage around the side. Not sure if he wants to run into that 3-man just yet, though.
Baron is up. Teleport is not available for Cola, and he is in the bot lane. Going's going to meet him. Backed and walked from base, so he did not expend his teleport for this. So technically, OMG have more map control, despite the wave being pushed against them, simply because Going couldn't answer to this Baron fight, whereas Cola is going to have to walk there. They should know that Cola's teleport is also down because of how he utilized it in the last fight, appearing behind them.
Yeah, now San has got to be a little bit more careful. We've seen in that last fight that he just is not going to be as flawless against Uzi because the ladder can really push him away. Ward wars are going to be commenced right now. Drug actually getting found up by Insect, but he should be able to escape easily. Lantern. This is probably going to go on for a while. I don't think either team is in really a big rush to commence a Baron, since they're not feeling particularly confident.
Oh yes, OMG will double think any sort of aggression after that StarHorn Royal Club punish right there. And again, as this game drags on later and later, Uzi, of course, finding his footing.
Clearing the ward. Baron is angry. Get out of my house. Oh, they don't see it. It's right on the edge of the site.
That's brutal.
Oh, man. And they think they're doing this very stealthily,
that's
but
brutal.
this is going to be rough. However, Cola's not available right now, and they could burst this one down. It's going low. Steel might be available in just a second. Oh! It goes down to the shockwave! Corn coming up big. Going. Gonna get bursted out. Can they make him pay for this one? Mega Inferno Bomb. That's Corn going down. Uzi trying to run out for his life. And even though they get the steal off, they do answer back with a couple of kills. However, that's everybody but Cola going down. They have to go out of here, though. Jax split pushing away. He could get himself an inhibitor, but they're not going to completely bite. It's going to be cool going back. All of a sudden, this game has gone absolutely upside down. Froskurinn Cola, he is going to get that inhibitor. First one falling in favor of StarHorn. San by himself, no minion wave available, and OMG slow to react, even as they answered up with the Baron steal.
Oh, Cola's also pinging him out. San trying to tank the tower. He does not have the creep whip. I don't think he's going to be able to get this. This he can't do it. Entirely in favor of StarHorn Royal Cup. They got the Baron, true, at what cost? They lost 4 of the members. It's still on Cola, however, but more importantly, they got the bottom inhibitor. This is huge. Look at this shockwave. Massive,
and it looked like Jarvan was going to pick that one up. Going stays alive, just barely. Insec, my work here is done. I can die happy. And so can Gragas. They made him pay for it, but it was all a ruse at the end of the day. Jax split pushes back. Surprise!
Again, talking about the coordination of these teams, the fact that Rengar jumped in simultaneously with the shockwave proccing. The reason why he didn't even get his smite off for that Baron is because the burst damage, he was not expecting that. Like you said, they didn't realize that it was warded. It was on the very edge of that pink ward. Surprise sneak attack.
Yeah, and that is why you have to place your pink wards in the best possible. Yep, deeper. That is
really
hard learned.
unfortunate.
And you know, they're going to be able to look at tape of that later and realize, oh, that's exactly what happened. So Cola comes out with a sweet Baron buff as well as an inhibitor. He took down the tower to get there as well. And this is starting to look like StarHorn might have found a few cracks in the armor. That is OMG's impenetrable play. Otherwise, it's been very good. But even though the fights have been kind of back and forth, Split Push Jax gets scarier and scarier the longer the game goes. He's got a Trinity Force, he's got a Bork. It's going to be hard to duel with him.
I'm unsure that there's really anyone that could duel him effectively. Going, you know, if he gets the right poke off initially, but if it's a 1v1 and Jax gets the leap strike on to going, I'm pretty sure he's going to tear through Gragas at this point.
Well, he's forcing the map pressure bottom too, because even though there's no objectives to take there, he keeps clearing waves, which means that they have to back and deal with this, and that's going to free up a lot of StarHorn to do these things that they're doing right now, looking to push on the top side. It's starting to look a little disastrous for OMG. They've had this game flipped on its end for them.
And of course, it doesn't help that Uzi's Kog'Maw is starting to get running as well, despite not having the best game, 2-1-5. You know, not shabby, but not what we typically see from him. It's at that point, you know, 36, 40, 45 minutes, he's going to be Kog'Maw no matter what. Kind of the issue with these late game hyper carries.
Yep, and now the 4-1 commences. Cola looking to duel out going, and this is OMG's chance to maybe take a fight to StarHorn, but they don't want to go for it just yet, realizing Rengar's around the side. Insect going to jump in for it. Drug not taking any chances. Takes the Lantern out to safety, and they're going to give up this blue buff. Meanwhile, they've Mega Inferno Bomb. Okay, it's not going down for free.
That's a big takeaway, though. Not having blue buff on Ziggs when you're under so much pressure. The fact that the Ziggs ultimate was also used to try to defend that blue buff didn't come up for anything, as opposed to being used to try to defend, you know, the bottom push.
Well, they've got going pretty much committed to keeping this bot side from being pushed in so hard. They have to stall out until their inhibitor comes back up and then try to take some action, but you never know when Jax is going to be the thorn in your side that he is all the time. He's also got a Guardian Angel, so if you thought it was hard to kill him before, they're running full revival.
The bigger issue also is that if you think, look at the resource that Jax is taking up. Yes, Jax is an incredibly important champion, but he's not super key and influential to StarHorn Royal Cup's composition. It's more so that wombo combo insect with the ball, the chrono shift, the cog. But it's not like they need
speaking of ball, wow, Cool nearly goes down. Zanni's Hourglass for just a second. He stays alive in all this, but Drug, noble sacrifice indeed to try and keep people alive. Everyone's jumping into the box. Cool, gonna fall down. That's Corn picking himself up a kill. Everything is collapsing right now for OMG as they get jumped on. Cola going for Cloud, flayed backwards, doesn't matter. He's still getting that kill. Inhibitors back up, but they are looking for the end of the game. Guys, you have to take an inhib first. Okay, we'll turn around for that one, but a long death timer for 3 members of OMG. This is looking like a 2-0 Froskurinn. We thought this was the most unlikely of results, and it looks like it's about to become reality. Uzi falling down, but not for long as he comes right back on up. And that Nexus, it's not going to get up after it's gone. Go, in desperate attempt to keep the team alive. Son around the side. Korn's going to fall down, but this is it. This is it. This is a 2-0. StarHorn Royal Club coming up with the 2 victories. Takeaway from the first place OMG, and that catapults them into 3rd place over World Elite. I did not expect this coming into tonight.
There's been so much criticism on StarHorn Royal Club and their recent performance, particularly Insect, kind of on his failure in the jungle. You think about, there was talk about inflation from their schedule, the fact that they had such an easy first part of the split. And yes, it is very true. These last 3 sets that StarHorn Royal Club are going to face are going to be the top teams. This should be the toughest stretch of their split, of their schedule. They just took down the first place team. They just 2-0'd the first place team. This is looking more like OMG, EDG, StarHorn Royal Club for Worlds as opposed to World Elite and as opposed to Invictus Gaming.
Yeah, that was something else in the results, and you're seeing the old ones on your screen now, but StarHorn have officially jumped into 3rd place, 19 points on the game. World Elite probably not looking too happy watching that one right now. Of course, that is only our first set of the night. Are more surprises in store? You'll have to find out, guys, because when we return, we will, of course, be bringing you World Elite taking on Invictus Gaming, and they might have something to prove after all that. We are going to go on a hiatus, though. Guys, we'll be gone for, about, say, about an hour or half an hour? You have to check the schedule just to make absolutely certain. We'll be going back to that one. But, guys, don't go anywhere, or at least if you do, make sure you come back. You won't want to miss the next set after this. You're watching the LPL in English, and we'll see you in just a bit.
It's not really a thing in China. Nidalee, even when she was considered OP, which, she's considered very strong right now, doesn't really exist here. They don't run a lot of poke they have poke elements to it, but it's much more about that dive, hard engage, re-engage thing. Nidalee never caught on in the mid lane, never caught on in top lane.
You know what has caught on, though?
Zillion.
It's actually started by Zatai about a day or 2 before Faker ended up playing it in OGN. And
what team is that guy on? Can you remind me?
Yes. Your very favorite team, Invictus Gaming. We don't have any biases here, of course.
I would never be biased.
I think this is definitely going to be a mid lane pickup. It could be a support choice, but it doesn't strike me as Zero's style.
No, definitely not. I am 100% that it's going to go to Korn in that mid lane. Zero is much more... It's funny, for a long time there was almost kind of 2 components and 2 facets of StarHorn Royal Club's play. It was like Zero, Zero and Insect, and then Uzi and kind of the rest of the team. You would constantly see like Uzi and friends. You would constantly see like Zero or Insect kicking people into like Nami bubbles, things like that, and they would get like these solo kills off on their own. It's gotten a little bit more cohesive. And hey, look, didn't I call it Tristana? Yep,
Tristana comes up out the gates. Of course, we're also going to see Cola. This solidifies the mid pickup. Zillion, I think. On the off chance it would have been top, I don't think that's likely, but Cola is going to rock Jax. This is a comfort pick champion for him, too. Definitely something that he thrives on in particular. And Insec, he's been liking Rengar a lot.
This is 4.11, so Jax has been nerfed, though. And it's funny because we kind of saw the death of Jax in the international scene, particularly NA.
Not China.
As soon as those Jax nerfs... Yeah, exactly. The fact that Jax is still being picked up, despite having those base numbers hit. I haven't really seen the Jax-Gragas matchup just because it kind of Gragas rose to power, Tree rose to power, and that's really been it in that top lane.
When Tree is banned, what do? Go back to Jax. Hey, I saw him in that cinematic. He looked like his early game was pretty terrible. Couldn't hold up to Darius and Nautilus.
Yeah, Nautilus pretty much put him in the grave there. Korn going to finish this up, though, with that Orianna pickup.
So I was completely wrong, by the way. It's going to be a Zillion support for Uzi.
Very curious.
Yeah, I
you
think
have
that
to
was a flex
that,
pick.
Well, SK brought out the Zillion against... Whose bot lane was it? I'm actually trying to remember that game. I remember that it was Piclet and Pumandu. Was it OMG?
Oh, are you talking about at All-Stars? They
Yes.
did take Zillion mid in the final of All-Stars, yeah.
No, it wasn't Zillion mid, it was Zillion
was
support.
it support? Okay.
Yeah,
I'm
it was
completely
support
out of my
because,
mind, apparently.
Piglet and Pumandu were effectively not surviving the laning phase, and so they picked up the Zillion support, and they made like the public announcement, like, we have this OP support pick to counter the Chinese bot lane,
I
and
feel
it
like
was
kind
the
of a
idea.
troll.
Well, it worked perfectly because it effectively, they were losing the bot lane so hard that it just gave them more lives and it took them even. And then they had the superior Korean strategy and map pressure game to play out that they just didn't have a fed lane to deal with, and they came back really hard. It was OMG because that was the day of Xiang, I remember that.
Anything else you think in particular that they have to change about that?
Well, they had a short stint of control when Alan went hard on the paint with his Elise, you know, made those invades early on Insec, but that completely turned around from how hard bottom lost in Son and Cloud's hands compared to Uzi. So I would expect that they're going to put Son onto a hyper carry, because obviously he's already proven that he can't take the early aggressive champion and put it to Uzi, so I expect to see either Tristana, a Jinx, or or Kog'Maw land in his hands. I don't think he'll go back to that Lucian, Corki, or Ezreal.
Fizz ban comes out of the gates right away. Same bans for StarHorn. They don't really change much from game to game.
They had the counter pick too. Like, that's what baffles
Yeah.
me. Red side has such a higher win rate in China because the counter pick is so important to them. They saw the Fizz early, and Cool decided to pick the Twisted Fate, the weaker lane, into it. But that Gragas right out the gate.
I think Orianna would have helped a lot better, yeah. Gragas immediately picked up by going to be on that champion today, and it certainly helped out Cola quite a lot. So what's the answer here? Do we see top lane in Italy? So round number 2, StarHorn coming up with a big win in game number 1 off the back of a couple of hyper carries in Fizz and Kog'Maw. Froskurinn, what do you think OMG has to do to get back into this one? I never thought I'd be saying that tonight.
OMG is known for kind of their slumps, but so are a lot of Chinese teams. It's like there's these highs and then there's these really deadly lows. I don't know what happened that game. OMG, like we talked about previously, they've already clinched that playoff spot, so they could possibly be playing around with compositions, things like that, although they looked very disappointed on the back of that loss. So to me, that translates as either they just looked past StarHorn Club or they had an awful pick ban phase, which, to be frank, they did.
Well, they tried to ban out Insec, and he just said, all right, well, you're going to take away Rengar and Lee Sin. I'm just going to go for Jarvan, and it turned out to work wonders for them as Fizz was picked up in the mid lane. Korn was able to work wonders on that champion. And OMG just looked like a team that never really made any moves towards victory. They gave up all the dragons. They gave up a lot of towers. They couldn't take team fights, and they have to have a different strategy going into game number 2. Pick ban phase, certainly going to be a part of that, I think. Let's see what they do here.